What's going on, guys? Today I am taking the time to wash the Datsun. Now, this is going to be the last wash of the year. It is pretty much the end of November, almost December, and just by a stroke of luck, it is absolutely gorgeous outside. I think it's like 12 to 15 degrees Celsius, so around 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's absolutely amazing. The sun is out, it's shining. So I figured might as well take the time now because the paint on the Datsun is pretty disgusting, and I realized that there's not going to be another opportunity for me to wash the car until spring. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and I'm going to run you through my process on how I wash the 280Z. Alright guys, before we jump in and start actually putting water and soap on the Datsun and kind of working into actually getting the car clean, my process starts inside the house. It pretty much takes me about the same amount of time to actually prep everything, get everything the way I like it, than to actually wash the car itself and get it clean the way I like it. You might be thinking this is crazy, but for me, I think prep work is 100% key. I mean, the whole point of washing the car is to get the dirt off and leave the paint in the condition that it was. You don't want to add more scratches, add imperfections, or cause damage to the paint at all. So the prep work for me is key, especially having a 45-year-old car or 40-year-old car. The Datsun is a little bit more finicky. It is an original paint. If it was, I'd be taking 100% more precaution, but still, nonetheless, you don't want to risk damaging your paint. So my process starts inside the house. I go through, rinse out all my buckets, make sure they are 100% clean, there's no dirt, wipe them down with a clean rag. I do the same for the grit guards that I have inside both of my buckets. I do use a 2-bucket method. I have a 3rd bucket actually that we'll be talking about, but don't worry, I'm not going to be explaining a crazy new revolutionary way to wash your car. I just have 3 buckets. Don't worry about it. I also go through wash the mitt that I use to actually clean the car that touches the paint, as well as the drying rag that I use, a microfiber drying rag. It's a big, nice big drying rag that I have, as well as the bag that the drying rag goes in. Just because after I use it, I put the drying rag in this bag, and if there is any little bit of dirt particles that was picked up from drying it the previous time I washed the car, I don't want to clean the rag, put it back in this bag that potentially has some dirt in it. So everything is clean. Now that we have everything prepped, good to go, now I go outside. The Datsun is actually running right now because it hasn't been started in a couple weeks. But we're gonna turn the Datsun off, and then we're gonna move in to the actual process it takes to wash the car. We're ready to jump right in, but before we do, I just wanna mention that this is the first time the Datsun is being washed in this garage. Meaning a few things. I do not have access to everything that I would have usually washing the car. Number one reason, or the number one thing, is the pressure washer. It's not really a big deal for the pressure washer. The Datsun never is really dirty, so I mean, you don't really need that much pressure to wash away like baked on mud, whatever. So just a regular hose is fine, and that's what we're gonna be using today, just with like an attachment head. But one thing I do like about the pressure washer is it allows me to just pre-soap the car. So it has a soap setting where you just, in a reservoir on the actual pressure washer itself, so you just rinse the car really good, and then you put the soap setting on, and you can literally just douse the whole car with soap, almost like a foam gun, but not really producing foam, almost just like a soapy liquid. But it's nice because it can just pull most of the dirt off before you touch the paint. So that's the only difference. I'm gonna take a little bit more caution today because I'm not using that method, or I don't have the pressure washer. But let's just jump right in. The buckets are ready, I'm ready, you're ready, so let's just jump right in and start washing the car. But the 3rd bucket that I was saying is actually just a rim bucket. I like to have something completely separate just for the rims. Nothing from this bucket ever touches the paint. I like to keep everything separate. So that's the 3rd bucket that I was talking about. Nothing crazy, just have things separate. And this bucket has a couple different wheel woolies in here, a couple different sizes, as well as a couple different mitts that we can use for getting into areas of the rim. Now the rims in the Datsun, I'm not really too worried about. The rims are gonna be first. Now we're just gonna hit them with some water and then go through with our rim bucket and the mitt that we have in there and just give them a quick little scrub. Nothing special, the rims in the Datsun are clean. If you had some stubborn brake dust or things that were baked onto the rim, then rim cleaner is definitely something that I'd suggest using. As for what kind, I always use non-acidic, just because if you have very sensitive rims or they're made out of certain materials that can react or certain metals that can react to acidity, you want to make sure that you're not using anything that is acidic. If you do use something that is an acidic based rim cleaner, just don't leave it on that long, just to be safe. Especially if you spent crazy amount of money on wheels, you don't want to risk damaging them by using an a very acidic based rim cleaner. So there's your little lesson on rims, but which you guys probably already knew. So after the rims are done, let's jump right into cleaning the car. So rinse, rinse, rinse. If I could suggest one thing that I do, is I spend a copious amount of time just rinsing the car, because the better job you do rinsing, the less dirt there will be when you grab that mitt and touch the paint for the first time. So rinse very well. If you want to get into the wheel wells, you can get into certain other areas. In this case, I don't really go through the wheel wells too much. Like I said, the Datsun is usually pretty clean. I am very particular when I drive the car. The reason why the paint's this dirty actually is because I was caught out in the rain, not driving, it was just caught out in the driveway as I was doing something in the garage. So usually it's not even this dirty, but nevertheless, it's dirty, so we gotta take care of it. Once the car's rinsed, I'm just gonna go panel by panel and just use the wash mitt. If I see any little bit of dirt on the wash mitt, I'm gonna stop right away, rinse it in the rinse bucket, rubbing it against the grit guard to kind of pull all the dirt out of the mitt, and then I'm gonna go back into the soap bucket and then continue on. Once all the panels are done, I'm gonna rinse the car thoroughly, and then we can get into drying. I always start at the top, work my way down, and leave the side skirts and the front and rear bumpers for the last thing I do, because they're most prone to getting dirty. So the car's rinsed, but now we gotta dry it, and if it's a really hot day, I'd suggest pulling it into the garage, or you better hurry up, because the water is gonna dry and you're gonna have water spots all over the car. So I grab my drying rag, spray it a few times with my wipe and shine, and like same way, panel through panel, then I wring out the cloth, add a little bit more wipe and shine or spray wax, keep going till I'm done. Then we can go to the door jambs. The door jambs, I usually just use a regular microfiber cloth, nothing too crazy. Try and use something that's relatively clean. It doesn't have to be in good shape, but it does have to be clean. So if you have an old one that you've used for a couple years, throw it in the wash it, make sure it's clean, and then once you get the microfiber wet, it'll be perfectly fine. Add some more wipe and shine. Everything is going to be using the spray wax, and go through the door jambs. That's pretty much it. I don't go too crazy when I do wash the Datsun. It is most of the time clean. It's not the first wash of the year. If it was, I'd be going through adding some wax, doing some paint correction, stuff like that. If you guys do notice the windshield, everything beads right off the windshield, that's because I sealed the windshield. If you guys want to know how to do that and the process behind it, put it down in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will definitely make that video for you guys. It's an easy process. It helps out so much, especially having an old car where the wipers move like freaking slower than I'm talking. Then the sealant is 100% the best way to go. You don't need to use your wipers being caught in the rain. That being said, I don't like driving the car in the rain. But if you are caught in the rain, you're gonna need to either use wipers or have a windshield that's sealed. I would say use the sealed windshield over the wipers, because the wipers just don't work. That's it for this video, guys. Hope you guys liked it. The Datsun is now clean, ready to go. Oh, I wanted to mention tire shine. I usually put a little bit of tire shine on the tires. I'm not doing that today because it's going into storage and those tires are junk anyway. But if you guys wanted to put tire shine, go for it. I usually do that in the summer months, not in the middle of November. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Stay classy, crew.